My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines, and we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voices of Wrestling Network.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hey there, Thunder Buddies and travelers down Thunder Road. It's us, Days of Thunder, the WCW Thunder Rewatch podcast that you didn't ask for, but we did anyway. Coming as part of the Voices of Wrestling podcast network and powered by largemanappears.com. It's me, your World War fucking 3 on Thunder Road, Dave Ryan. And I am joined as I am every week by my faithful co-host. He's Stagger Lee Malone. Lee, how are you in these bleak times?
I'm as good as can be, I suppose. I mean, not to go too deep on the world's ills, but I'm okay.
We are a safe zone, but it does, and we are like recording these out of sync. But it feels like the only thing that's been playing on my mind today is how shockingly the winner of the FIFA Peace Prize has gone to war with another country. Right hours before we recorded this. So, but moving on from that to more out of sync jovial things. How have you been?
I'm good. Can't complain. Yeah. No,
actually, you haven't been all good because you did.
No, I haven't. But I mean,
this is the second successive Thunder where you haven't been good at all. And you did send me. You said I have. It was interesting because the way my Discord app worked. Because I tend to, for people who don't know, I tend to check Discord apps only when I'm looking to talk to Lee. Because since our hiatus, I've fairly well plugged out from being online. I was never great at answering DMs anyway, but I'm much worse now. I'm not even like reading threads very much. We talked about it a little bit last week. But I got a notification because I have notifications for Lee's DMs on my phone. And I saw I have a fun story for the podcast or something like that. And I opened it and the picture took a second to load and I was not expecting what I saw. So Lee, take the floor with however much detail you want to give.
So this past Monday morning, I was on my way to a brand new job. Starting a new job, just about to do the induction, and I was rear-ended. And when I say rear-ended, I mean
that's a hell of an induction for work.
Yeah, I okay.
I'm not here to king shame Lee, but
I was hit. My car was hit very hard on the back by another car. That was a great start to my Monday, and it looks like it's not confirmed, but as of now, my car is off the road.
I didn't want to say, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, that's written off.
Well, I had a trip to the hospital, which was fun. But thankfully I'm okay. A little bit of whiplash.
In the photo you sent me, your car went from a saloon car to a hatchback by the looks of it. Like,
well, this will tell you, I went over to the car one of the days and had to retrieve stuff from the boot, but I had to retrieve stuff through the back seats.
Yeah.
So that'll give you an indication. But look, I'm very happy that I was able to walk away because,
Yes.
again, it was for a fairly big accident. I didn't hit anybody in front of me, which I'm very thankful for as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm okay. It's a good story that I started a new job and didn't actually turn in for a week. So,
Yeah. I'm sure the boss was like, "Oh yeah, I suppose the dog ate your fucking homework as well, chief, did it?"
oh, mate, I was so anxious trying to like take pictures of insurance and the back of the car and trying to email people and like I had one phone number to try and ring.
Yeah.
All while
There's
the guards are on the way and I had to get seen to by fucking people in an ambulance.
there's nothing quite like having to do admin while you have whiplash.
While also ensuring to reassure my wife that yes, I am in fact okay.
Yeah. Were you was everything like chill with the other driver?
Ah,
Everything was
yeah,
kind of
yeah, no,
smooth. Yeah.
he's
There's a preponderance in Ireland of the people to either not have insurance or to try and escape the scene of the crime, even if the car should not be still in motion.
yeah, no,
So
he's been fairly good, and I thankfully have a loaner car from the insurance, so
that's good. That's
I'm
good.
good. But yeah, it's
Good.
quite the start of a new job.
Yeah, indeed. Well, like I have a little bit of a lifestyle or a life chapter that'll be happening very soon. Like the morning
Mm,
after we record this, I'll be celebrating my son's first birthday, which is kind of crazy.
it's insane.
Um, to think of, yeah, because I would have like wrapped up right before he was born on the podcast. We're barely back to this shambles
Well, I should say
now.
we've done what maybe 3 episodes in that.
We've done a handful. We've done a handful. I did actually, it did feel like the gap was even longer, like because
It
my
did.
guilt has been so immense not being able to record. But I did check the app the other day because for one of the Patreon shows, I had to check when the last one we did was, and it was like 3 months. So
Hmm.
like it's not as like in my head, it felt like I'd been gone for the full year because it's a real thing. Like it becomes such a part of your week. Like this is the night. Like I don't know about you, but like I have, if we do a double batch of recording, I have like it's a 4 night process because
Hmm.
it's like watch show one, watch show two, uh, recording night and editing
Hmm.
night. Like so, it's a 4 night, and then like somewhere in the middle of that is read the Observer, as well. And if there's any other kind of like ancillary things that need to be done around the pod as well. Um,
Yeah, no,
so like
it can be a process, and obviously you, like I say,
yeah,
you do a lot more of the back end stuff than I do. But
yeah.
yeah, no, it's quite. Look, as Lance always says, you're not breaking rocks, so
No.
it's we're doing this for ourselves more than anybody else as well.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think
yeah,
as
no,
well, like we've made long-standing commitment. We will one way or the other, no matter how many times I need to take a brief break because of fatherhood, we will finish this
oh
fucking
yeah,
run.
we will
We
get
will.
get to the evasion.
We will get there. We will get to the
Um,
invasion and beyond. And we will get to not beyond wrestling though. That's done.
no,
That's a
no,
very
no, no.
pre-COVID notion.
But
Um,
yeah,
yeah. So like a first birthday party, and like we've done the thing where so we learned our lesson over Christmas, because it was his first Christmas. We did the thing where, like, so for my family have a big Christmas Eve party every year. So it was easy to knock out all the visits in one go. I bring him to the Christmas Eve party. We bring him close enough to a nap that we're on a clock.
hmm,
You know what I mean? So that I have to, look, I have to go, I have to go, I have to go. So you're not stuck there for the whole day and breaking his routine. Um, for Emma's family, they don't do that thing before Christmas. They do it after, but we were going to be in Rome.
mm,
Um, so what we did was we had them all over for like a Christmas Eve breakfast, which was lovely. Do you know what I mean? Love Emma's family to bits. Friend of the show, Alan, of course. My brother-in-law. Um, but the problem is then if you're the host and you have a at the time 10-month-old child, you're having to like do the normal things with the child, but also then prepare the house to receive 8 or 9 people.
yes.
And then you're preparing the food, which is fine. Like I love to cook, so like preparing the food, it's just time consuming. And then afterwards, you're cleaning because the place like it's like a bomb hit it. And then
Yes.
I have the logistics of 3 cats and a dog as well to imprison in various parts of the house, not to be freed.
And there's also then the thing of there's always one or two people that stay a little bit longer than you want them to, and you're kind of like, please go. Please,
I'm
please
actually
leave.
I'm actually very thankful that like Emma's side of the family are very like me, that like if the task is come to have breakfast, they will come, they will have the breakfast, and within 15 to 20 minutes of the breakfast being completed, they'll be gone.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now, like my other brother-in-law, his in-laws are the exact opposite, like you said, where like
Mm.
so we're recording this now, like peek behind the curtain. It's 11 o'clock at night. We had our nephew's birthday party earlier today. That started at 2. And if I get a text now saying that those in-laws are still at the house, I would not be shocked.
That's mental.
Yeah, yeah. It's that kind of like we'd see it as outstaying their welcome, but they'd see it as, just like comfy hanging out, enjoying their time together.
Mm.
Never mind the fact that it'd be like half a dozen children going out of their fucking minds with the overtiredness by now.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me. It's just like,
Yeah, yeah.
come on, it's not fair to kids.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And everybody just being 10% too nice. Like the people who are guests are too nice to go, oh, I feel bad leaving if I
Hmm.
haven't been asked to leave. And then the hosts are too polite to ask people to leave,
Yes.
So it's just like this weird détente that happens. It's one of
Hmm.
those things I don't think a lot of other countries have that same thing, but I think it's one of those things where like there's like there's a thing in the Irish DNA about like you would sooner die than inconvenience somebody even slightly, is a real in-baked into the Irish rearing thing.
I will say I don't have that issue.
Yes, but
I
you do know
am.
a lot of people in this
Oh yeah,
country
yeah,
have
yeah,
that.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
I think it's why a lot of people, like say our American friends, like, and a lot of people from other countries that might be a bit more direct, they probably love coming here because you can steamroll your will
Hmm.
over people over
Yeah,
here because they'll be like, okay.
yeah. Now, one thing I learned very quickly is with any children's party, you got to put a finish time. You have to say this is when it's over.
Yeah.
That's when you need to pick up your children.
So this is what leads me on to my next point, is that we actually have just gone and rented one of those play barn type
Oh
places
yeah,
because those are limited in the number of people you can
mm-hmm.
have. So there's no being blamed for not inviting Uncle B, because it's like, well, we could only invite 8 adults.
Yeah.
And it had to be these adults. It had to be 4 of
Mm-hmm.
hers, 4 of mine. So unfortunately, you couldn't make the cut. Um, Also, they handle the prep, they handle the
Yeah.
cleaning, they handle the food,
Mm-hmm.
and it is time limited to an hour and a half of play, half an hour of food, out the
Get
fucking door,
get the fuck
and the
out. Yeah.
staff will take you out the door.
Oh yeah, they will.
Like,
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, they absolutely will.
yeah. And we've booked it for a time where we will literally be leaving. The place is 20 minutes away, and we will be forced out the door half an hour before the baby's due to nap.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, now bear in mind, it's kids, so it's chaos. This may not go to plan. I'll report back on Thunder 103. But we have, in as much as you possibly can with an event like this that could be chaotic, we have tried to plan it with an inch of its life to make it
Mm,
a relatively easy day on us.
yeah.
It also being my wife's birthday this week, it's quite an
Oh,
expensive. Yeah, they're born 2 days apart.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So her actual birthday is Monday, and his actual birthday is Wednesday. Then, so it's a time. It's the most expensive week of my year. Anyway, I'm financially ruined.
No wonder you want to start the Patreon back up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm back shilling for dollars, man. I got mouths to feed, man. I got kids. I need this job.
Yeah.
Like the
See,
great
see,
philosopher once
see
said.
how quickly it happens.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Lee, let's start heading back to 2000 and to WCW right now. I'm struck by I'm struck by the familiarity going into this show. We are settling into a real groove of I am consistently remembering a lot of things that are happening on shows this around
Mm,
now. Um, I have such a vivid memory, and I'm kind of, maybe we'll ask to hear back from the listeners, or maybe we'll make a decision ourselves, an inside baseball one. But I do think there's like, maybe as a short Patreon special, we could cover this in studio pre-reset Nitro, where they're just, have
mm.
you ever seen that special where it's like it's Tanay and the boys, and they're going through like some of the best of WCW.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. If I have, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, like it wouldn't be enough to do a full show on, but I think as a kind of I seem to remember there being very like it was very interesting one what they think the best of
Mm.
WCW was. And also I think it's interesting in some of like the foreshadowing because I think they're already talking about like one of the things that defines this upcoming era is by basically like consistently saying that Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff are writing the show. Like
Yes.
they're really putting them front and center, both in terms of these men want their ego stroked, but also
Hmm.
I always felt that it also kind of seemed a little bit like, and these are the men we will be throwing under the bus in 6 months.
Well, I mean, that's what they've always done with anybody that's in charge of WCW
Yeah,
is
I mean, it's
eventually
what
they
they
get
literally,
blamed.
it's literally what they just did with Vince Russo.
Yes.
Like, do you know what I mean? And they're about to walk back into a hell of a lot of trouble again. But it is, there's so much kind of like significant. We're out to hit quite the run,
Mm.
quite the run. I think the run between like, we got a few more thunders to go before the reset, but I think the run between the reset and Bash at the Beach is genuinely some of the most historically significant
Yeah. When
stuff.
when people think of bad WCW, a lot of it is confined to that maybe what 6 to 8 week run.
Mm, mm.
Um.
Can I ask you actually? This is a complete sidebar, but just saying historical significance there has reminded me about a conversation I had in work about professional wrestling. So it's not a fully off-piste conversation, but I'd like to get your thoughts on that and see if you and I match up, right? So somebody was talking to me uh, about the recent kind of palaver, a young person in my work.
Mm.
So for those of you who are relatively new to the program, why are you tuning in 102 episodes in? Get back in those back catalog, lads. You're missing a lot of real dumb
Don't.
bits.
Jesus, don't.
But I work with teenagers, right? That's my job. And at least one of them is an out wrestling fan. There might be a lot of
Okay.
closeted wrestling fans. I don't know, but one of them is an out and out, still doesn't watch AEW, sadly, but watches WWE. So, wrestling fan since he was a small kid. So he was enraptured by the whole AJ retirement, the palaver that was being made over it,
Mm.
because, like, as far as he's concerned, like in his eyes, AJ Styles has had a 10-year career, most of which was like the recency bias of which was he was like an upper mid card, sometimes a challenger of the month type dude. Like he was even because he's 15 now. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? So he was 5 when AJ debuted in
Yeah.
WWE. So like the era where he was like world champion and world title challenger and stuff like this is not the
No,
stuff he remembers.
he's like 6, 7 years of age. Yeah.
So he's as baffled as anybody about why he's getting like more of a send off than like absolute titanic icons of the business. But anyway, I said that like a lot of the kind of why people hold him so fondly was because he was so important to the basically the alt scene of wrestling. I was trying to explain it to him as because he doesn't know
Mhm.
anything of the indies. Do you know what I mean? And this led him to ask me who would be like if I were to explain it in a snapshot. He was like, who was the independent wrestling Mount Rushmore of like the modern era when we grew up.
Oh
So who are
God.
those four? Because I had like within 2 seconds, I had four, and I'm wondering would they be the same four as you?
I mean,
Now, I
it's
I could go first, but I would like to hear yours as well. I don't necessarily want to influence you unless you're really stuck and you need time to think.
but are you saying modern? Are you going back as far as like from 2001 on?
Yes, I'm talking post collapse of the big
Okay.
three.
Um, then you're looking at Punk, AJ,
Uh,
Joe,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
and see, it depends how forward you want to go. Uh, see, the
You-
fourth one,
You're you're 3 for 3 for me so far.
the fourth could be a mix of like it could be like you could say Kevin Steen, you could go Generico, the
Tell you who
Briscoes,
I had.
the Bucks.
Do
Go
you
on,
know who I had?
who
Danielson.
yeah, there you go. One
That
again. he's so synonymous now with being
Yeah.
a massive star. Like, I forget. Yeah.
I totally agree that there's a whole strata there that are so close, like Steen, Generico, the Bucks, and the
Mhm.
Briscoes.
They were like the
Um,
next.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think for the like, then you have another strata of like for the people that were the inside baseball, you have like the Roddies,
Hmm.
and the Seidels and the
McGinnis. Fucking
Aries,
yeah,
like
yeah.
all those kind of like where you wouldn't put them in the four, but you would have them in if you were having a broader conversation.
Hmm.
Um, and then you'd have like you could have some esoteric picks like Super Dragon and stuff like
Oh,
that.
no,
And
yeah.
there was a moment where I thought about like the level of what strata hero fits on
Mm,
because I'm just like the thing that made me not feel bad about putting him in the four because like in terms of like he'd be very close in terms of how much I've enjoyed lots of his career to making him a personal four for me as opposed to an
yeah.
objective four. But the thing that made me feel better about not including him was like I don't think if you ask Chris Hero, he would put himself anywhere near. Like I think he's one of the people that would be humble enough to be just like, look, those guys ahead of me.
I'd see. With Hero in particular, I think like he was post peak ROH,
Yeah.
and then his what year to 15, 16 months where he was just back and forth across between Europe and the US is
Well, and this is
probably
and that's the run that I think is the solidifying case for
yes,
how high I would rate his career.
yeah,
I think
that
if he
that
had never come back to the Indies, I think he's a guy who like the streets won't forget. But I
mm-hmm.
don't think he's like you need to watch like a 3 disc comp of this guy.
Yeah, he's very much in that next level, but he's not. Yeah, I agree with you. You kind of can't put him in the top four.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
And by
it's
by the way, I didn't just for anybody that's screaming at me, I didn't bother even entering Japan into the conversation
no,
with this
no.
young person because this person does not know who Okada and Tanahashi are for a start. So if they don't know the most major of major league
Mm-hmm.
wrestlers from Japan, they are not going to know. And obviously, my ball knowledge in Japan is way lower than it is for America and Europe by my
Yeah,
own admission.
yeah. You're not gonna
Um,
start busting out the fucking Tomohiro Ishii comp
yeah.
for this
Also,
guy.
like if I'm going to try and talk a young person into watching anything from Japan nowadays, I'm going to try and get them to watch all Japan from back in the day instead of like because if I start mentioning New Japan to them, they'll try and keep up on the current product, which I can't abide.
For a minute, I thought you were going to say like fucking Stardom or Marigold or something. I'm just going.
No, no, like let me tell
Uh,
you about the four pillars of heaven. Uh,
but yeah, no, it's
Jack
interesting.
Perry.
And look, I hope that young person keeps asking you questions and does kind of
Yeah.
dive a little bit deeper into what kind of wrestling history and learn a bit. Look, it might not be for them, and that's fine. But
I think my thing that will eventually get him is he loved the Shield when he was small,
okay,
and he loves Punk.
okay,
And I'm just like, I have got a body of work for you to watch, my friend.
mm-hmm.
I was like, just go back and watch all of Punk's AEW stuff. Like,
Yeah,
because as a body of work, it's immense, you know? Just because I
um,
actually don't think I think you could drop him into that dog collar match with no context, and it'll be one of the best things he's ever seen in his life.
well, see, don't forget that the upcoming WWE game has the Punk Independent run in it, so they're all going to be
Yeah.
experts soon
Well,
on.
did you see it has Miseria Cantare in it as well?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was telling Connor. Connor was very
Yeah.
excited for that.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool touch, I have to say.
But yeah, no,
Here's the thing. Sorry, continue, finish your point,
no,
and
I
I'll
was
go
just
on.
kind of that's the thing. Like pretty soon, you're gonna have your Julian Weeks and people like that are now
G4
experts
guy.
in 2000 through 2005 CM Punk.
Yeah. The same. It'll be all the same people who claimed not to know Miseria
Oh
Cantare at
yeah,
Revolution. Yeah, it'll be
yeah,
all of them. You'll be able to do that. There's always a tweet thing for every single one of them.
yeah. Raj Giri is going to come out with it. Yeah, he was the
Yeah,
one that
yeah,
said what did he say? The sound alike to the Terminator song.
yeah. Which
Yeah,
is so funny because like I obviously it's one of my favorite matches of the last 10 years, that dog collar match. And I think you're the same as well.
I
We
adore
gushed
it. Yeah,
about it
yeah, yeah.
constantly, right? and I think it was his peak in AEW as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I watch that back. I watch that match back a few times a year since it
Mm-hmm.
happened, and literally 2 times before the bell rings, Excalibur explains what the song is.
Oh yeah.
like, like
Yeah.
2 different times.
The dumbest people. Well,
Yeah.
here's why he's wearing these white board shorts. Here's why he's wearing this white zip top. Here's why he's coming out to this song.
Tony Khan should have explained it even more because he should have assumed that during the 2 times they'd explain it, they were busy tweeting about how they didn't understand it.
Just the dumbest people.
Dumbest people alive. Anyway, here, speaking of the dumbest people alive, let's talk about WCW, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's go to the Observer though first and talk about what's happening in the news this week. And the headline on page one, and something that would definitely stick and definitely be permanent, is the retirement of Mick Foley.
Oh.
So No Way Out has just happened.
Ah.
So the Hell in a Cell, where like we've talked about it a little bit before, but
Mm-hmm.
that like Cactus Jack run of a couple of months just fucking lit my world on fire back then.
Yeah.
Like I don't know about you, but this is like again, I only start seeing ECW stuff right like maybe later this year. On like some comps and stuff, those comps that were released in like music shops here in
Mm-hmm.
Ireland, like right before the end. So I didn't see a lot of ECW. So like that fucking street fight melted my brain. And that like the visual of the flaming barbed wire 2x4 in Hell in a Cell
Mm-hmm.
just like it seared into my brain. Um yeah, it's like Dave does a because my memory at the time was well, not memory at the time, but I suppose the way I have understood the period looking back at it now is that it was maybe only a couple of weeks before everyone was pretty sure he was going to wrestle again.
Oh, I don't even think it was a matter of weeks. Sure, isn't it like 2-3 weeks before he's inserted into the Mania match?
So at this stage, what Dave seems to know is that he will be involved, not necessarily physically, but that he's going to be. So they know it's going to be a three-way at this stage for the title and control of the company at this stage. So it's not just like man in every corner; it's control of the
Okay.
company, and that The Rock is going to be Vince's guy, and that Steph or Triple H is going to be Steph's guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is known, and what he's saying at this point, so they must already be talking about him being involved in the match, but the only bit that's leaked out of it is Linda is going because what he said here is in the newsletter is that Linda is going to bring back Foley to screw Triple H in the main event.
Okay. Or
So that seems to be the planned finish, and like so it must seem to be like only in the couple of weeks beforehand do they finally have because I suppose one of the significant things there's two significant things about historically about WrestleMania 2000. One is that the only singles match is the women's match, which is like
mm-hmm.
was it Terry and the Cat?
Oh, could have been, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only singles match. Everything else is a multi-man match. And the other significant thing is it's the first WrestleMania where the heel wins the main event.
Yep.
Because again, they're strapping the Rocket Triple H, and we've said it before, but the 18-month run between SummerSlam 99 and the quad tear he was good. He
Mm-hmm.
was good. I still think it was a colossal misreading of the room. I think The Rock should have won that main event at
Yes.
WrestleMania 2000
Yep. They could have waited a month to do
or
the
Foley.
Vince.
Like if
Yeah.
when it was a three-way, it should have been The Rock, and as soon as they put Foley in it, like you can't put Foley in that and not have him win it. Like it's
Well,
just
don't forget that the original posters for WrestleMania 2000 had
yeah.
four people on the front.
Yes, one Christopher Jericho before
Yeah.
what did Vince famously say to him that his contract wasn't worth the paper it was printed on
Mm-hmm.
around this time? So he very quickly got his push killed. Although it's after Mania that they do the dusty finish with him, isn't it? It's April. I
Yes.
feel it's April, but after Mania, yeah.
Yeah, because it'd have to be before Backlash, because that's when Rock wins the belt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it has to be that month.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, the Mick Foley retirement. You will be pleased to know that after a week of mulling it over, Dave has decided who the best wrestler of the 21st century or the 20th century is.
Over.
He does it in very, very Dave terms because he says it by announcing just their shoot name at first and then makes you read about a paragraph before you figure out who it is. So who do you think it is?
I'm gonna guess it's not Tito Santana.
It is not, nor is it the Portuguese man of war Aldo Montoya, who I know you would definitely have guessed.
Listen, his ECW run wasn't as bad as people say. I'm gonna guess it's Funk.
It's not. It is Kim Shinraku, better known as Ricky Dozan.
Okay.
And to be fair, like you read the paragraph, it's very interesting. Now, I don't know about you, Lee. Apart from I understand vaguely how historically significant Ricky Dozan is, I am not a biographer of his. I don't know.
No.
I don't know his career or anything inside out. I just know that like it's him and Inoki are like the two like the two most significant cultural figures in Japanese professional wrestling. And he makes the good case for it because like no, like he basically it's him. It's him why pro wrestling is such a big deal in Japan. It's because of him. It is entirely because of him. Nobody had more of an impact on an industry, sold more tickets off his own back, etc., became more of a like a borderline religious figure in his home country because even at the various peaks of wrestling over the 20th century, you know, like the peak of Bruno, at the peak of rock and wrestling, Hulkamania, the peak of the Attitude Era, wrestling was a very popular niche, but still a niche. There's always been something to me at its peaks of popularity where wrestling just seems to be, it feels more mainstream in Japan or it's treated with more reverence and respect in Japan across broadly popular culture than anywhere else in the world. Like, again, you're talking about, like, was it 2011, 2012 when he was still over there that, like, Devitt was doing, like, fashion modeling. Like, he was doing, was it Armani or something
was
like
it,
that? He was, like,
it was Armani.
of...
He was an ambassador for,
Yeah. So like it just seems to have more mainstream acceptance over there. So like if you're the big dog of all time within there, you have like again, you look at how like because we do remember a little bit about how revered Inoki was. Because Inoki was still alive and around when
Our
we were
lifetime,
aware of him. Yeah. And everything I read of Ricky Dozan is like, yes, Inoki was at this level, but Ricky Dozan is a level above again, you know?
Yeah.
So I can't really argue it.
No, I mean, look, it's a very Dave pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it does feel like a little bit. It's like, the best wrestler is the most important one.
It's
you know?
Dave with his business hat on,
To me, I was kind of just a little surprised it wasn't Flair. That feels like the Dave pick is Flair.
Flair,
anyway.
Flair. And look, I suppose he'd never give it to Funk publicly because probably at this point, it wasn't well known that him and Funk were so close.
Yeah. So Lee, there's a dark enough story in the news this week that I suppose it's just kind of what stuck with me about it was there's just this kind of long history of some really fucking dodgy people that to one extent or another get gravitated towards professional wrestling because there's a hide in plain sight element to come to it. But the thing that was rare about this is like rather than we followed some news stories in the Observer over the course of the podcast about wrestlers having committed different crimes or promoters or whatever it is, but this is like a reporter. And I had never heard this story before. A guy called Jim Thompson, who is an editorial assistant of Detroit News, who had a very like well-known pro wrestling column for the newspaper as well as his own pro wrestling hotline, was charged on 226 with second-degree criminal sexual conduct, a felony which carries a minimum sentence of 15 years in prison, and fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct, a misdemeanor which carries a maximum of 2 years, in alleged incident involving two boys aged 13 and 15.
Fucking hell.
I won't get too far. There's like a lot of detail on the case, not necessarily the crimes, but like on the case about like how there was like tr- two trucks were needed to take all the material that they found on his
Holy
property.
fuck.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, it's one of those where like, we can both think off the top of our head, like the prominent creeps around the wrestling
Hmm.
industry that have been like outed, named, and shamed over the years. I just thought it was interesting that it's one of those, it's dark that there's been so many of them over the years that who like follows this stuff very closely, never heard about this dude.
Yeah, no, if I did, I kind of put it in the back of my mind. But yeah, no, Jesus, I don't recall that one at all.
Apparently things have been going on for more than a decade. As like there was somebody who, on the condition of anonymity, spoke to the Detroit local news and said she tried to turn him in over a decade ago.
Fuck.
Uh, but apparently the police just didn't do anything about it. So yeah, yeah. Just a fucking horrible. If you thought this stuff was like, confined just to, like I said, just to famous wrestlers or just, certain types of people. Nope,
Nope.
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 Anyone with any position of power. Anyway, let's get to the more kind of like wacky news notes. Um, Beyond the Mat was nominated for Best Documentary of 1999 by the DGA, and also received award as one of the best movies screened at CineQuest 10, the annual San Jose Film Festival.
Right.
The highlight of Memphis Championship Wrestling tapings in Tunuka was the appearance of the Road Dogg.
Oh
And if
God.
that's your highlight, son, bad times. They also had, speaking of Beyond the Mat, they also had Barry Blaustein appear on the 226 Memphis Pro Wrestling and Power Pro Wrestling shows to promote the movie. Um, the Rings promotion claims it will be running shows in June in Honolulu and in July in Illinois, August in Salt Lake City, and is also talking about expanding into Brazil. Uh, I completely forgot about this one. We did talk about that it was coming up when she was filming it. But Rita Miro got horrible reviews for her performance on the show Relic Hunter. She will also be on the cover of the May issue of Muscle and Fitness Solo. After all, she is the world's fittest woman, he says, which is very bizarre
It's
to
a
hear.
very strange thing to say, but
She's also scheduled for Cigar Magazine and the illustrious National Enquirer TV.
wow.
Yeah. Shane Douglas appeared unannounced on the 226 XPW show and did a 15-minute promo on WCW, in particular Bill Bush, Hulk Hogan, and would you believe it, Ric Flair.
Oh, great. Can't wait for Shane to return.
Douglas did a Sam Kinison routine, great reference by Dave, where he pretended to call Bush up on his cell phone, including yelling out Bush's phone number to the live crowd on the microphone.
Oh, why? Why?
Party at the show, he reformed the Triple Threat with Chris Candido and Tammy Sitch, who appeared on the show. Douglas was asked how WCW could draw ratings with chunks of fossilized manure like Hogan and Flair. Earlier in the show, Candido, dressed up to look like Terry Funk and doing funk spots, won that group's title from Damian Steele. So he won the title of this promotion while doing a bit.
Sounds like the most XPW thing possible.
Yeah, well, they had, speaking of the most XPW thing possible, they had a King of the Deathmatch tournament that night, won by local wrestler Supreme, who beat Lee Malone's favorite wrestler, John Cronus, in the main event.
God.
Axel Rotten debuted, losing in the semi-finals to Cronus.
Fucking
Reports
hell.
are the show had too much blood and wasn't as good as the previous show. Another former ECW wrestler, Mustafa of the Gangstas, worked the undercard. Um, Then to move to ECW for a bit, Sabu worked the house shows over the weekend, having a bad match with Whipwreck on the first night and working with Scott D'Amore at the TV taping.
Oh.
He was said to have gotten a disappointing reaction both nights. He had a long talk with Paul Heyman in Cincinnati, and right now it doesn't seem anyone is clear how this is going to transpire. So, for those of you who, again, lack the context of previous weeks, Sabu is trying desperately to get out of his deal in ECW to go to WCW and take that bag. But Paul isn't letting him because too many chickens have basically flown the coop by now. And even though
Mhm.
he's got Raven back, he's about to lose him again.
Yeah.
He's about to lose Mike Awesome. Uh,
Lance
and
Storm
yeah,
isn't long for that world either.
oh, Lance Storm. Yeah, I was trying to think. There's another big one about the
Hmm.
Drummers. Yeah, Lance Storm is gone within a couple of months as well. Um, so yeah, and there's not a lot of people kind of being cut that are worth him taking on either to replace that group. Jerry Lynn is out injured at the moment as well. You want to talk about somebody that's like important to the promotion in this time. So his ankle hasn't healed as quickly as they would have liked. He'll be at the pay per view, but it's expected it'll be 6 to 9 weeks before he's back in the ring. Rob Van Dam is on his way back because obviously he's been out with that big leg injury. He got his cast off and he'll be at the 3-4 TV tapings and the pay per view. They have no set date for his return. He's talking about 9 weeks more, but it could be as long as 12. Spike Dudley suffered a torn posterior collateral ligament and was hoping to get the surgery after the pay per view. And he'll be out for about 6 weeks after that. Masato Tanaka, speaking of people that aren't long for the company, apparently he's booked for a tour in Japan for several weeks after the pay per view. So it looks like he is imminently ready to drop their tag titles. Then moving over to our friends at World Championship Wrestling for just a moment. A lot of talk about the pay per view now that we're heading towards it, but we don't need to talk about that now because we'll talk about it as it comes up. For those interested in useless knowledge, even though Hogan said the strap match would be a yappa pie Indian strap match, more on that later. He said it about 19 times during his promo on Nitro, according to Dave. The correct name of the tribe is Yavapai,
Ah,
which is not, I'd never heard that correction before.
no.
This was fun to me. But also like, oh, this poor dude. So after Nitro went off the air on 221, Hogan was still selling the bat shot from Luger. They took Dillinger out on a stretcher, and then Hogan got up and started doing his posing routine. Just immediately stopped selling as soon as Dillinger was out.
Jesus Christ.
But
Why?
that's not the poor him for person. Is that as they were leaving, they showed the ad for DDP's book, and on the screen read the word role model, and people in the building started laughing like it was a comedy spot or the Catbo commercial, which I felt that's so hard. Like, I know it's probably overstating the fact, but like,
Hmm.
how have you managed to turn? Like, I know he becomes a laughing stock in WWF, but it just goes to show how bad the booking is. Like, remember we talked in '98 about how and even into '99 how hot DDP was and how like he
Hmm.
felt like one of the most organically over people in their whole company.
Yep.
And this is how much they fucked it. That the idea of him being a role model at all is laughable to their own fans.
Yeah.
Like, I get it being laughable to WWF fans who've been told that like it's the fucking redneck Riviera and shit like that down in WCW, but like really it's unacceptable that this is how much they fucked up DDP. Like,
I mean, yeah, we talked about it at the time, that inexplicable heel turn where they just decided, right, DDP is going to go heel now for no discernible reason, and he just never really recovered.
yeah, look, don't get me wrong. I don't think companies necessarily should be blindly loyal to people, but I think when you have some homegrown, legitimate stars in your company that have no intention of going anywhere else, I think you should probably protect that asset because all you can do is devalue it otherwise. So I think particularly of the harm they've done to DDP and Sting, two guys that not in a million years, because Lord knows, particularly in Sting's case, they tried to poach him.
Hmm.
You know, there were multiple times WWF over the years and WWE, even after WCW were gone, wanted to work, wanted to get Sting. And Sting, out of blind loyalty for nearly 2 decades after that company ended, refused to go there, you know?
Yeah, it was only when TNA stopped being of any use that Singh finally relented.
I was trying to think of an equivalent for the like, if WWF did this, like the two I could think of, and they're not in terms of star power necessarily comparable, particularly at this time, but in terms of homegrown guys who were never going to jump. Imagine them doing this to Shawn and Undertaker.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like where like when they were at the Undertaker isn't the kind of like it's hard to say he was a legend on the level of like Stone Cold or Rock or something like that, but he was like a homer who was a consistent main eventer who was never going to let them down. Once he jumped over to WF, there was never
Oh,
I
there was never
never
any
remember any
talk
talk
about
of him
him.
going back. And
Yeah.
apart from like petulance drops, there was never really a chance Sean was jumping the fence.
Well, Sean wanted to.
Sean wanted it, but it was never like. And also, if I'm WCW, he's maybe one of the guys where I'm like, okay, maybe we don't want to poach people that bad. Like, as talented as he is, I'm just like, everybody that's jumping over to our company, half of them are saying they jump partly because of what a dick that guy is.
Well, listen, when you can have Louis Spicoli passed out in your locker room every week,
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
why wouldn't you take Shawn
Mm,
Michaels?
point taken, point taken. Um, but anyway, yeah, no, I just that's my way of saying, like, could you imagine WWE doing that to their guys? Like, they're too big at this stage, but like if they did a Triple H or Austin or Rock either, where they're just
Hmm.
like these guys are going nowhere and we basically created them as stars. Let's fucking down shuffle them now. You
I
know,
mean,
especially like at least you could argue Sting had been on or near the top of that company for a decade, and you can go, okay, maybe it's time for Tim Sting to take a little bit of time down cycled. But it felt to you and me that they were reaching very high levels of organic overness with DDP in the mid to late 90s. And they just pumped the brakes on them because they literally, their tiny little brains couldn't comprehend pushing two baby faces at once. Everyone needed
hmm.
to get out of the way of Goldberg,
Yeah,
and all the heels needed to get out of the way of Hogan.
yeah.
Like, anyway, um, not a lot more from WCW anyway this week. There's just a couple of short notes from WWF. I think if I remember that I wanted to kind of make mention of. Let me just skip down there and see. Oh yeah, they're promoting because I remember this as being a very famous crossover cameo. China on Third Rock from the Sun is coming up soon,
Ah, okay, I remember that
which is
episode. Yeah.
I think underscores because I think I remember us having this discussion in the summer of '99 about like I don't think people now, especially with the discourse since she died, I really don't think a lot of people had understood how big China got
Hmm.
in terms of popularity and overness. Like I don't think people appreciated that. And I think it was the company that ended up stepping in her way. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it really
Uh,
was.
it it's it was retconned so heavily, so quickly. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, a lot of it was what they would see as necessity of China is gone and she's now doing this adult material that we don't want associated with our product. So they
Mhm.
really went heavy on the whitewash of China
Yeah.
and her history. But I mean, you go back and look at any advertising material and from like 98, 99, 2000, and it was Austin, Rock, China, Triple H, like she was always to the forefront of any of the material they put out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. So I thought that one was interesting. Um, WrestleMania, I never knew this, right? WrestleMania will be an expanded 12-hour
Oh
pay-per-view
yeah,
package for
yeah,
49.95. I never knew this. So there's the 3-hour actual show. And this made me think of like as much as we complain about the pre and post shows on pay-per-views now, particularly WWE ones, a 3-hour actual show with an 8-hour pre-game show
yeah. See, they did
and
like
1 hour post-game.
I don't know if you're old enough. Do you remember the old FA Cup final days? So BBC would start their
Yeah.
coverage of the FA Cup
Oh, at like
final at like
lunchtime.
no 8:30 in the morning.
Oh, geez, I don't remember that now. Yeah.
Like they would you would have like a camera in the team hotel as they're having breakfast.
Oh, geez, no, yeah,
Uh
that might be a little bit before my time. Or I just what no one in my family was bothered tuning in.
yeah, but like it was literally an all day thing leading up to the event itself.
Yeah.
I remember when this was announced, because I was like, God, if they have this on Sky Sport, it'd be great. Like I'd watch the whole build up and then see the show the next day or whatever. I don't think they did. I think this would have been like a like
US
pay
exclusive.
yeah pay-per-view channel kind of like a free view type
Yeah.
thing.
Well, it makes sense because it says everybody who buys the package gets a best of WrestleMania home video. So that seems like an exclusive
Mm.
to the North American market type job. Um, there's also something about hey, the Village Voice, which, like, to my mind, because I know, like, a lot of people, when I hear the Village Voice publication being mentioned, it's about like their film critics. So I
Mm.
think it's kind of like it can come off a bit snooty sometimes, the Village Voice. But
Mhm.
apparently they did an article. Do you remember you may remember, 'cause I think we talked about the Newsweek very laudatory profile of WWF after they went public.
Mhm.
Apparently the Village Voice did a whole piece on 229 ripping the absolute piss out of that.
Oh wow. Okay.
Which I kind of want to get my hand on it, like because apparently the Newsweek piece was talking about how great the stock prices are, and they were like, even in between the time that like they started putting together the piece and the piece came out, their stock had stagnated. So like they're only telling one part of the story, so that's a little interesting one there. Look, we have delayed as much as we can. Actually, no, I'll give you one really, but I give you a good piece of news to end on. Something that we may end
Absolutely.
up watching on Patreon one of
Oh
these
no.
days for an
Okay.
at the movies. Is that it looks like The Rock might get cast in the upcoming sequel to The Mummy. So
If I remember correctly, his role in the Mummy Returns is pretty small,
it's two scenes. It's
and
like he as himself is in one scene, I believe, at the
yeah,
start of the movie, the kind of pretext. And then he appears as a CGI, a very
yes,
bad CGI scorpion for the last
yes.
5 minutes.
That's what I was gonna say. But look, it's the movie that launched a thousand Voss water bottles into the sky.
Yes, yes. We will one day on the Patreon be saying Aku Machete, my friend. Don't worry. Don't you worry.
I'm
Um
worried.
right, okay, let's talk about it. This is Thunder 102 coming to you from Fargo, North Dakota. 1st of March 2000. We have a 2.0 rating, which is down by zero point 0.3 or zero point 0.03, I think it was. Yes, 0.03, not to do them too dirty. Um, they are doing, I think that the scales have tipped, right? We used to, like, at the worst of us trying to figure out the context for what was happening on Thunder, we used to feel like they would not tell us at all until like deep into hour two anything that
Hmm.
happened on Nitro sometimes. Or they would mention offhandedly, like, of course, we all know this massive thing happened on Nitro. Um, Now what's happening is the somebody who for 3 meals a day consumes nothing but cocaine puts together a video package at the start which tries to compress the entirety of Nitro into about 45 seconds, and it is the hardest work I do in terms of taking notes for this show.
Yeah, I do feel the same. Like when I turn on a tunnel, I'm like, right, okay, be ready, because I don't really want to pause and have to, you know, pause after every kind of cut scene to what happened next and what happened next and what happened next. Because the intro would take fucking 15 minutes just to recap everything.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, it's insane. Like you say, we started this whole show of, oh, I wonder if they tell us anything to. Man, they don't really tell us anything that happened on Nitro. To now, it's here's the whole Nitro in fucking 60 seconds.
Yeah. Please say less, King. Like, so here's what I've got, Lee, and if I missed anything, please jump in. Lex is upset that Buff is cracking onto his woman.
Mm-hmm.
Sting is ready to run off team package. Hennig, who has returned, loses to Flair and says he will streak the streets of the city that night if he loses. Thankfully, we don't see that footage.
No.
Um, Jeff Jarrett is upset that Tank Abbott got a world title shot. Let me tell you, he's not the only one that's upset at the idea of Tank Abbott being pushed into a main event. Um, and that he has to defend his title against Vampiro. The Harris brothers lay out Kidman and Booker. Knobs, uh, what is it?
He lost the hardcore title.
He lost the hardcore. Oh yes, 3 count are now the collective hardcore champion, having beaten Brian Knobs. And then the last note I've written here is just me wondering to myself is like, no one forced him to do Tank versus Sid. Like Sid just
On
beats him,
on
taps him
zero build
out.
up. On zero build up.
Yeah, yeah. But this is it, right? So talk about booking yourself into a corner. It's like you have a guy who the whole thing is he's doing the one punch knockout winning streak gimmick. So why are you putting him into a match with the world champion unless you're going to have him
Mm-hmm.
win the world title? And then not only do you have him lose that match, but you have Sid, who Lee, not a noted submission specialist.
Hey now, listen. You don't want people on X coming after you.
There's one thing if you got like I think the loss that protects Tank more is like a flash pin,
I mean,
do you
I
know, or
just
a
have
kick out with 3.1. I just
I
wouldn't
just
book the match.
yeah. Well, also I could just have him eat a power bomb. It's not that big of a deal.
There's, there is conservatively 400 wrestlers employed by this company at this time. Any one of them could have eaten a loss at this main event. You fucking beat Bam Bam Bigelow like a drum. Why don't you throw him out there again? Like,
I mean, did they think Tank would draw a rating?
I don't know, because like they're about to go into the whole him spending half the year calling out Goldberg thing. Like
Hmm.
that's not far away, which is great because we're going to see one of what I think will be the most cathartic moments in the history of television, which is him beating the piss out of Mark Madden on live television. That might have to be a Knights of Nitro by itself.
I'm pretty sure we did agree to do that one just for that moment.
Yeah, honestly, can't wait. Um, but yeah, it just seems like the classic. Yeah, yeah, like maybe it is the Bischoff thing of trying to hotshot a rating, but like I don't think Tank is anywhere near over enough yet. Like he's
Oh, he
not getting the
doesn't. No,
reactions that
he
say
doesn't.
pop a rating against Sid. Like,
No. It's WCW being insane.
yeah,
And like I say, on what 2.5 hours build, they have Tank Abbott tap out in the main event.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing as well. Yeah, yeah. It's no build. Like that's the thing. There's not even a chance for like if you'd announced it on Thunder last week, you go, well, at least they're trying to, get people in the door. Um, yeah, absolute madness. Absolute madness. Um, now we're at Thunder, and this is so weird. Like Terry Taylor acts like a fucking mark here, where Sid comes in and he's got the belt in his bag, and he says, "Can I see it?" It's like, no. And then Sid asks him if he got it done very mysteriously, and Terry says yes. Um, the other thing I've added at this point, just from the intro of the show, is Lee, I already can't hack this new Thunder intro.
I don't mind it. It's fine.
It's I don't know, maybe it's not as bad if you're watching it at the time, but now it feels like the most cringy. It's like somebody doing a parody of a "This is a show for boys" in March of 2000 video intro of all time. I don't care for it, especially compared to
It,
the old like gaudy CG Hollywood sign exploding.
uh, I know it's very of its time. It's trying to do the raw intro, but blue.
Yeah, blue raw. Um, we have our opening contest pretty quickly, and it is a World Cruiserweight title match. The match happening quickly is the only thing that was quick about this, by the way, because this was not a fast-paced encounter. The Flat Pack Sovereign himself, the artist formerly known as Prince Ikea, with Paisley defending the Cruiserweight title against fucking Chavo.
The returning fucking channel.
Yes, and we will have more a little bit on
Yes.
Chavo later.
What did you think of Tanay name dropping challengers for the artists? And
Hey,
he
Rania.
like he name drops Hoovy and Ray, who will return at some point in the next
Yeah,
12,
yeah,
six
is
to
it
12 months.
Hoovy who is returning soon, and Ray who we believe will return.
In the summer, I think is what he
Yeah,
said.
by the
Yeah,
summer, by the summer. I think he returns. Is it May? I think
I
it's
think
May.
so. Yeah,
I think
but
it's May.
like this is Ray who wants nothing got to do with this cruiserweight division.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And like by the time he returns, he's just one of the dudes in the Filthy Animals.
Yes,
Um, so those were his choices, and he he feels vindicated, I'm sure, by that choice. But just you bring up that point. It's interesting because that's the first point I wrote as well. Is they're really trying to make you believe that IKEA is this great fighting champion.
dominant world
Is it?
cruiserweight champion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're genuinely trying to gaslight us into this guy is a good wrestler. I'm sorry.
he's
What?
been champion for what 10 days.
Yeah, what you're selling, I ain't buying, lads. Um, and then like also, I also think this is Brain trying to give him his flowers for finally finding something that isn't completely boring because he's just like this
Mm,
guy's turned his career around. Because it was like it felt like the tacit admission from Brain where he's just like, look, we all knew this was dog shit. Everything you did was dog shit until now, and now there's something that stinks a little bit less than dog shit. So fair play.
yeah, maybe, but God, I mean, when I watch this match, all I can think is, man, I did not miss Chavo.
No, no. Chavo coming out as well, like, and the way he's just strikes a pose on the stage like he's some sort of conquering hero to fucking crickets, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
like how dull is Chavo? Chavo is so dull that when he had a make pretend child's hobby horse, that was the most over he was ever. I call this the dull men's club derby. This match, like two extremely boring wrestlers. Um, like Chavo, who I think is the most genuinely maybe one of the most boring major league wrestlers of my entire lifetime. And IKEA, who's bad, but he's not bad enough for it to be fun or
Mm-hmm.
noteworthy at all. I just his matches just wash over me at this point. Um, Chavo gets an early two. Two early twos on IKEA, two near falls, to deafening silence. Like this is the thing, when you get like you nearly get a new champion and you usually get a reaction from the crowd, and
Ooh,
especially in
no.
the opener, which should have a
Yeah.
hot crowd, nothing, absolutely no reaction whatsoever. Um, Tanay has to try and keep our attention and keep us awake already in match one by saying, please, please stay tuned because we've got an upcoming announcement after this about a match that might happen tonight. Chavo throws out IKEA and he's fully in control. Paisley comes in for the distraction. IKEA hits him with the belt, but then he walks right into Robinson, who sees it and DQs him. Chavo then drop kicks IKEA and lays him out. I I think it's like real bad. Like this is Charles Robinson, something I've noticed in WCW. Charles Robinson at this time in his career, I can't remember if he gets any better at it, but is one of the worst referees I've ever seen at positioning himself not to see interference or disqualification because he's not supposed to see it until the belt shot,
Well, see
but he's
that
clearly staring at it before he's supposed to clock it.
that's a problem with all WCW referees. They have awful ring positioning. And it's something
Billy Silverman was pretty good,
I've
I
noticed
think.
that it's something that is slipping back into modern referees. Like I think a lot of referees in AEW have just huge issues with just not being in the correct position. And I'm not gonna have a go at that one particular one.
Lee, have you ever done that on the show?
Listen,
I can't remember.
I may have pointed out once or twice I have an issue with a certain referee.
Yeah, for
Um,
long-term listeners, Lee has a bit, not just on the show, but like in private chats I've had with him, in group chats I've had with him and other podcast hosts, where Lee hones in on one particular referee from AEW.
Listen, I watch AEW put up a best of Revolution, moments or whatever. And I can't help but notice when, Orange Cassidy was in the match with Pac from the first Revolution.
Yeah.
And they're doing the little kicks to the kick pads that Orange does.
Yeah.
That person who I won't name strategically positions himself between both men, so he is on the hard cam the entire time. I can't stand it. But anyway,
I don't think you're very subtle about who he is anyway. I think people can figure it out.
Yeah, you can figure it out. But listen, Aubrey's no better sometimes, and Rick Knox as well is awful, I find, for positioning and not seeing things.
I agree. You've named a different referee to narrow it down even more. Okay, so the male referee in AEW who's not Rick Knox.
And Joe, who I do like? I do like Paul Turner, and I do like Stefan Smith. So there you go.
Is there literally just one ref
Well,
left?
there's there's the Spanish speaking ref, Brenda Martinez.
It's not him.
It's not. I like him,
and it's not Aubrey because we're using he/him pronouns. So,
anyway, WCW referees all better than Bryce Ramsey.
Anyway, enough about Bryce Ramsey. Or whoever he is.
A hypothetical referee that I don't like.
Yeah. He's definitely going to be reffing that. You saw that Sandman's doing his final match against the Invisible Man.
Can he just be fired? Please. I don't ask for much. Listen, I've said it. I don't care how popular he is with people. Just get rid of him.
Just get the man to lose his job. Oh, okay. Let's move on before you start like making death threats or something. we find out that the
Uh,
announcement that they were teasing earlier is that Sid, Kidman, and Booker are going to wrestle the Harris brothers and Jeff Jarrett tonight. Try and stop me from watching that, folks.
so Sid,
Uh,
Sid used his stroke to get a 6-man tag match.
yeah, yeah. Sid used the stroke to get an easy night, basically. Um, Gino is with Team Package. It is. Do you know something I had to reflect on? But like, I guess we know the arc of how the company for the previous couple of years before this and for the remainder of its run were treating Ric Flair. But it's kind of wild that he's second bill in this tag team. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's Lex Luger's lackey. Say that 10 times fast. But
Uh, yeah,
like he's the crazy old uncle that's with like because it's team package. It's not
mhm.
team Nate.
I think they're playing off the fact that everyone knew that Flair wasn't Luger's biggest fan at certain times. So I think it's
Oh,
more
look,
kind of inside baseball, kind of their team package and not Team Flair.
everything. It is a safe assumption, no matter who the booking regime is in the last few years of WCW, it should be assumed that every booking decision made about Ric Flair is done to torment the man.
Hmm.
And this is no exception. And it wouldn't get a whole hell of a lot better for the rest of it. We're about to have him shaved at his son's wedding. Um,
Hey, listen, the Magnificent Seven might be good.
anyway, we shall move on. Package is very derisive about Vampiro's chances tonight after Flair left him in a heap. Um, Flair says they are ready to go, to go, to go. His record skipped. Chavo is then with Gene, and oh my God. Like, right, one of the most dangerous things in pro wrestling is when a wrestler thinks he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about it even as recently as I think last week on the program, where the times where Kevin Nash has been brutally unfunny is when he's trying his hardest to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
He's funny off the cuff, right? Um, this Chavo segment where the whole bit is he's going to use big business terminology to basically say, I'm not doing that gimmick anymore, I'm broke, is
Yeah,
mortifying.
and he now is turning into the stealing Guerrero gimmick.
Yes. He says that his MLM was a fiscal albatross. I didn't write the rest of it down, but basically, he's broke and that he's going to go for the Cruiserweight Championship because it should be worth at least $15,000 to $20,000. Now, in isolation, that last part, I am quite happy as always. I feel like a real Lanza talking point is about to be stolen here. I am quite happy for a wrestler's motivation to be if I wrestle and if I win championships, it's more money that I bring home to my family. So I
Mm-hmm.
will beat you up because I am hungrier than you and I am providing. This is the time tested bit in wrestling. I am fine with that. Everything else terrible. And also, this isn't a fit for Chavo. Chavo isn't like the working class hero,
Well,
that the
also,
fans are really behind.
he wants to win the belt so he can sell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not doing the
Yeah.
prize fighter bit. It's just,
Yeah.
that belt must be worth about 20
Yeah.
grand, so I'm
Yeah.
going to win it
Yeah.
and sell it.
So he finds a very Chavo way to do the I'm doing it to earn money, but it's not through like hard graft and earning more. It's true. I'm going to pawn the belt.
Yes.
Then we get, oh my God. There needs to be, I don't know. I'm so glad, Lee, that Dustin Rhodes is in the place he's in now in life. You know, that he had the redemptive run, that he had like the beloved comedy guy run in the early 2000s in WWE. And then like he had that like Rhodes Dynasty tag run with Cody for a little while in WWE. And
He had
then,
he had his tag team with Booker where he had Tourette's.
yeah, which like, look, comedy and mid card as it was, we all still remember it
Mm-hmm.
fondly. Um, and then he's had his like fucking actual finally after 30 years like achieving his potential as a wrestler in his old man Dustin run in
Mm-hmm.
AEW. So I'm so glad because when I watch Stuff like this promo segment. I think to myself, Jesus Christ, I never want to see this man on television again. It is genuinely maybe more embarrassing than the spooky pedophile.
I mean, you see stuff like this, and you just wish, man, I wish this guy didn't listen to Vince Russo so much.
It's like there's such a on paper, him and Terry Funk feuding.
Should be the easiest thing in the world.
It should be. It should be. And Funk is trying to make it easy. Every
Mm-hmm.
time Funk speaks about this feud, he talks basically about like your dad was a piece of shit and so are you. Like, and that's all you want. Like,
Yeah, that's all it needs to be. Your
yeah,
dad was a piece of shit. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I don't like any of you roads.
yeah. So he's doing these insider terms. He calls the fans in Fargo smart marks, which just rolling my eyes at that. He says speaking to fans makes him sick, and then continues to speak at length to them. He basically says "fuck them kids," like he's just hates the kids, which is a very big departure from Seven. Uh, he says they are the ones who are the turncoats. And he has some footage from earlier on to show it's Funk at a clearly fake autograph signing where
Backstage,
he gets
yes.
jumped by Dustin. Yeah, they set this up in craft services, and he gets jumped by Dustin, hits him with chairs, tried to throw him through an I am the table. Dustin buries the crowd and Funk when Funk sneaks up behind him and absolutely murderizes him with a chair. And then I do love the Funk line in here of every time you get up, I'm gonna knock you down on your ass, and then get up, you bastards. And then he also had you're just like your daddy. Your daddy wasn't a wrestler, and neither are you.
Yeah, you don't belong in a wrestling ring.
Dustin fights back, but then gets what I described as an upsetting amount of unprotected chair shots in on Terry.
Yeah.
And then finally security splits them up and they do a pull apart.
Yeah. So Funk versus Rhodes is set for uncensored.
If you had just done the last 30 seconds of that,
Yeah.
it's 4 times hotter an angle.
Don't do the shitty fake autograph signing.
Yeah. Don't do the insider promo. Just
Mm-hmm.
do the I'm mad as hell. I'm gonna kill the old man. The crazy old bastard comes up behind him, fucking turns his head inside out with a chair. Job done. Anyway, the Harris brothers say the Mamelukes are next after this 6 man tonight. Jeff says that Sid has to go through them first. Um, did you notice? Like this can't have been deliberate, but given the things we know about old Ron and Don,
Oh, yes, I have this note.
what did Jeff Jarrett then say?
Jeff Jarrett says Sid will have to go through his, and this is a quote, his two trained pit bulls, and everyone knows they come from a strong bloodline.
Hmm. I'm sure they would say so.
Yes. Yes, they would.
Yes. Anyway, the NWO are going to fire one of the girls tonight. Just ran like they're clearly looking for a subplot for the show very badly. So there's been 4 babes, as we know, that have been accompanying the NWO all around the place for a while.
Mm-hmm.
One of whom we clearly recognize in Tiley and Buck. A series of contests are going to happen tonight to determine who is toast. So Gino, who nobly offers to cover this story as it develops, this is the running bit of the night, is Gene with the NWO running through these ramshackle contests, very diva search style, with the girls. Not demeaning in any way.
Paparazzi Productions, this was not.
No, no, it was not. Uh, then we get the babyface trio for tonight's big match, strategizing, and Booker is still blaming Kidman. Do you
Genuinely
know
thought I thought you were going to mention the next babyface trio that come out.
you know what the thing is? Like, I don't remember a moment where it happens. So it's kind of interesting. Like, I do normally hate and would definitely prefer there is never a can they coexist tag team ever again in the history of professional wrestling.
Mm.
But it's rare you see the can they exist team where one guy is consistently fucking it up for the team to the point where you're like, okay, the turn is coming. any minute now. But if I recall, the turn doesn't come. Now, it could be because they hit the reset Nitro and everybody is divided, where, like, fucking Kidman goes in with the new blood straight away. So it's everything is scrapped because he goes on to the Hogan
Well,
thing.
I mean, Kidman has been in what? This is like his third Candy Hogs, this tag team in the last couple of months.
Yeah, yeah. But this, I don't think this ever pays off. I could be wrong. I don't think this ever pays off. And it is a rare approach to that where it's just like, okay, they don't function as a tag team. So they just stop being a tag team.
Yeah, pretty much.
And look, I'll take that fizzling out over the tedious, like, it's obvious someone's going to turn for minute one, and then they either do the turn that everybody thinks is coming, or they try to subvert it by having the one that makes no sense to turn do the turn.
It's you all know a turn is coming, but you didn't know it was this guy going to turn.
Yeah. So then we get a hardcore 6-man tag match, which is 3 count versus what are dubbed on Cage Match as the Hardcore Army of Brian Knobbs, Fit Finlay, and the Dog. I appreciate that. I think it's Brain says in the intro to this match, the hardcore division has reached its lowest points.
Do you want to explain who the Dog is?
The Dog is Al Green.
Yes.
But they're pretending like it isn't Al Green.
Well, no, they say it's Al Green.
No, on commentary they do. The lads are pretending like this guy is just like they found him in a pound somewhere. Did you genuinely think it was going to be Rick Steiner for about like 3 seconds when they said the Dog and before they revealed it? That's what I was like, oh, it's going to be Rick Steiner. But at least I suppose if they bundle together all the dudes I don't want to watch, it becomes easier because you get them all out of the way in one go. But anyway, Al Green walks out looking like fucking Cotton Hill. I couldn't believe this new look for Al Green is not it, by the way.
No. I mean, listen, when you can have Fit Finlay lead a man to the ring by a dog collar and chain, you just got to do it.
Yeah. So the Dog goes to the ring and kills the Twinks, and then they all spill outside to fight the dads. The Twinks get tabled. Dog and dads win. That's basically it.
Yeah, very much.
Poor. Speaking of poor, another dubbed La Parka promo. One thing I will say is I appreciated 2 things about this. A threat I have never heard, but must be the popular thing to say at the time, is that anyone that gets in his way gets 2 creases on top. Was an interesting way to put, I'm going to kick your ass. And then Gene, super annoyed that he had to go do that silly segment and immediately bolts back to the ladies.
Yes.
NWO do a sexist spelling bee, during which Jeff Jarrett calls them all rats, and they will do a test of strength next. I have no inclination towards being any more elaborate about that segment. It doesn't deserve it. But if you have any notes, throw them in now.
I was just wondering how it's a sexist spelling bee. Were the words sexist?
No, it was a spelling bee hosted by sexists.
Oh yeah, no, that's much more clear. Yeah, that bit I grasped. I just thought, Jesus, Dave doesn't like these words at all.
Yeah. Singles match for which I've written exactly 1 sentence, and you can understand why, because it is the Demon versus La Parka. I did appreciate the blue parka outfit.
Oh, very sweet. Very
sweet. Very lush blue La Parka gear. He squashes the Demon in 3 minutes with a corkscrew moonsault. If it was so 3 minutes, actually, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, it was really quick.
Maybe 3 minutes with entrances.
Yeah,
because they did the full preposterous sarcophagus entrance.
Yeah, they are so true with the Demon at this point.
Yeah. Wow. But the thing is, they're not as well.
I know.
Yeah, because like he's still around for a while. Anyway, we go backstage, and Slick is sleeping with his teddy. He gets told to get ready because Mickey J will fight him tonight. Now, the thing about this is that he's like, wait, I'm not suspended. So, but if Slick thought he was suspended, why did he show up to work and go for a nap?
Well, see, I thought he was in prison. I thought that was the idea they were.
Oh, so he's in like, well, he's in like Sing Sing with his fucking teddy.
WCW referee prison.
Okay, I'm down for that. You know, as we mentioned earlier on, they should probably all be in prison for how bad they are at their jobs.
It's true. But yeah, no, it's fucking another Mickey J Slick Johnson match.
Huh. Then we get Gene in an arm wrestling match with the babes, and they will do, would you believe it, a swimsuit competition next. Then we get Sting and Lex cutting backstage promos. Boy, is Sting trying. I don't know who he's trying to convince that he gives a shit at the moment, but he's not even convincing himself, I don't think.
Well, is this the first instance of Sting sans face paint?
Yeah, that I can recall. I think there might have been, we might have seen the odd, he's arriving at the arena shot of him in the sunglasses
Mm.
before, but I can't be sure.
Like this is the first full on promo, I think.
Yes, yes. To my recollection anyway, for sure, yeah. Um, so then we get the only sighting of Miss Hancock on this show, which is her talking to Buff about Lane and Idol. And I did maybe the biggest laugh I had in the show where she goes, yeah, like Lane and Idol. And like very earnestly, Buff goes, who are they?
It was
Genuinely
good.
no idea who
Yeah.
these two men who have worked there for several years are. And then she kind of soft rejects him and wanders on. We then get a singles match, and that is Total Package versus Vampiro. Uh, Brain had a very funny line in here where he said, the greatest body in professional sports today, and she's here with Lex Luger.
I missed that.
It's a good bit.
Dave,
Yeah.
have you noticed? And I don't know, you may not have noticed,
I think this is exactly what my first note is.
and it may have been said once or twice, but have you noticed that Vampiro is very like a young Sting?
Yes, I have. You know, I was picking up on the very subtle hints of them mentioning that up to 8 times in 4 minutes.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I noticed that Vampiro is very like a young Sting.
Has there ever been a bigger we are putting them in a program with each other signposting than this?
I mean, they both have face paint.
Yes.
They've both wrestled Ric Flair and Lex Luger.
They are both men who kind of look disinterested a lot of the time at the moment.
Oh, fantastic. Just they pushed so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, look, listen, I'm gonna say something controversial here. I thought Package did his hardest work he's probably done in a long time
Yeah,
in this
he has.
match.
And well, I thought you were going to say as well, like, what this is what I'll say is that I do feel, in spite of the fact he can look disinterested already at sometimes, I do think Vampiro feels fresh in this company.
He does.
I do feel he actually has become one of the highlights of Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Because he, like, whereas facially he looks like he might fall asleep any minute, like in the ring, I can't fault anything he's doing so far. Like he's not the greatest of all time in there. It's not like we're watching like peak Ray, peak Eddie, anyone like
No.
any of the great wrestlers that have been through this company, but he's solid, he's interesting. He's had some big wins already, and now they're finally actually getting behind him as well. So it feels like it's worth putting your stock in him right now. Um, so it's all pack dog early. He's giving it the big one. Signals for the rack. Vamp slips out of it, hits a spinning wheel kick, hits the cane clothesline off the top, and then a bulldog. Flair comes basically doing the bushwhacker walk out to interfere in this match with Hogan's weight belt. Vampiro smacks him in the head, pulls him in, chops him, clothesline package, as well as the kind of Lex trying to put in a shift here for a few minutes to give Vamp as much as possible, which I do appreciate. Um, it does feel like it's a little bit more than some of just the run the mill guys that Lex is fighting, where it took Lex and Flair and Elizabeth to screw over Vampiro.
Mm-hmm.
I was very surprised by Rick got in the ring, and for 30 seconds he was just handily fighting off both of them.
Yeah.
I was like, it would have been an interesting, like, it's far braver than WCW are at this stage, but it would have been very interesting if they just gone, what if he just fought them both off and won?
Yeah. Well, if we had a baby face that was actually competent.
I genuinely don't think at this stage Package would have lost anything in that.
No, of course he wouldn't.
It's one
He's
of those
still
big
fucking.
upsets that elevates the guy who wins, but it doesn't dint the guy who loses. It would have been that's brave. Like that's you.
Mhm,
If you're trying to elevate people, those are the things. And look, it's something that's been said in early 2026 of WWE. And it was said all through 2025 as they started to stagnate, ratings wise, product wise, to a lot of people, is they need to take big swings with young people or new people
mhm,
because the box office is telling you that it's getting stale. And the less brave you are, the longer that stagnation and decline is going to be. Um, Part of the creating new stars is you have to give those stars a platform to succeed or fail.
mhm.
Um, like I think of again, this is not. I don't want to do the tribalist thing going AEW does things so much better, but I look at something like the MJF title run from end of 25 through 2026, and that's been very good. And I don't think you get to that title reign without giving him the chance to have the bad one a few years ago. You know,
Yeah. I, that,
I would
I,
have definitely cut it dramatically shorter, but I don't think it like that guy could easily have stayed in the prelims if they weren't brave. Like, because he
mhm.
was, he often talks about he was the first match on the first pay-per-view, and he could easily have stayed there.
Yeah.
Same with Hangman. Hangman's two title runs haven't worked, but Jesus, both chases for the belts have worked for business.
Mhm.
You know, um, people need to be brave, or like the stars aren't going to land in your lap. And WWE have been braver in the past. Like, how long did they push? Insist on Cena, insist on Roman before people were willing to accept it. You know, that was brave. Relatively, whether we liked it or not at the time, it was a brave booking decision. We're hanging our hat on this guy, and I think one of the underwritten things, like we talk about the preserving of the old guy's spot and them not willing to get out of the way, but one of the things we don't talk about enough is that hand in hand with that is a fundamental lack of bravery in all the booking committees all the way through the late 90s, which
Yeah.
is crazy because the one time the company said we are throwing everything behind the dude, well, two times with Sting, with
Mhm.
the Crow Sting arc, and with Goldberg. So both times they were brave,
It
they
paid
made
off.
money. They made
Mhm.
sick ass money off it. And then they was never that brave ever again.
Yeah, and something that I know Rich Kraich pushes a lot is you gotta keep creating new stars because if you're constantly chasing um like with former stars and like talent that's been on TV for 10, 15, 20 years or whatever, you're never going to create new fans. And the lifeblood of wrestling is creating new fans. You're not going to get back to people that used to watch. Like, very rarely are you going to get back to people that used to watch. You might get a small percentage of them, but you're never going to get them 100% back.
Mm.
And companies, whether it was 1997, 2007, or 2026, like you gotta keep pushing and keep trying to create these new stars for people to latch onto.
Mm.
And yeah, it's something that a lot of the time, as you said, booking committees, bookers, whoever it is, they lack that bravery. And you know, Steve Austin pushing him took bravery. Because there was a guy that had, everyone knew was a great wrestler. But it was when his character got over and saying, you know what, yeah, we're gonna go all the way with him. That did take a bit of balls.
Mm.
And like you said, Goldberg, that took balls. Hogan did it for selfish reasons, but
Yeah.
um but yeah, no, it's something that, like, we're seeing this with Vampiro. They're very much half arsing it, in the sense of we're putting him in there with big stars, but he's not really beating them.
It's the same with like, but they even do it up and down the card because we've documented the way they're booking the wall,
Mm-hmm.
where every week they seem to flirt with, are we pushing him, are we not? Now, I don't want the wall as my world heavyweight champion, don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, pick a course and stick to it. Like, have the courage of your convictions.
Yeah.
That would go a long way. But anyway, after the Liz hits him with the bat, and we get torture rack for the win. They strap him to bits, but commentary the whole time he's getting the beat down after it are really doing a job putting over Vamp, and they Pillmanize his arm. So everybody in this company now has a broken arm. And then, as if to like an active, oh, you're being downcycled for a few weeks, Knobs attacks Vamp backstage. So now we're going to have that
I
happening.
think it was Finley, no?
Oh, was it Finley? It was some fucking camouflaged idiot anyway. Um, Singles match. Mark Johnson versus Mickey J. Slick versus J2. We were all looking for it. Mickey J walks out looking like Mikey Whipwreck's disappointed uncle. And I can't believe they're making us watch this match again.
I can.
Slick comes out in Jeff Jarrett cosplay, including a tiny guitar. Mickey J takes about a minute of it before Slick gets the heat. I wrote, "Would you believe this sucks?" Nick
What?
Patrick. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, was it Mickey J or Nick Patrick that had the WCW match with, or well, the referee match with Hebner?
It was Nick Patrick because
Was
Mickey
Nick
J
Patrick? Okay.
didn't. I don't know if Nicky J made the jump
He was there
immediately.
briefly.
Oh, was he? Okay. See, I don't actively remember him because like Nick Patrick and Robinson are the only ones that ever really had names.
Stuck. Yeah.
Because it is around the time of the invasion where Vince decides that referees don't need names anymore. Anyway, yeah, Nick Patrick passes Mickey a roll of quarters. He knocks out Slick for the win. And this reminds me very much of like this is the referees union, very much like in football, the goalkeepers union of like even if the goalkeeper is on the other team, you have this begrudging respect, and you
Yeah.
never try to score from a goal kick against another keeper. You never try to score a goal against another keeper, and if you do, you don't celebrate it because goalkeeper solidarity. So that feels like it's like, oh, Slick's not one of us. He's not in the referees union. It's not going to help you screw him, buddy. Um, then we get the Wall and Gorm Bar approaching the arena.
You missed the swimsuit contest.
No, I didn't. But go on. If
Yeah,
you'd like to recount it.
No, I don't. Just the same female won again. She won all the contests.
Yes, contestant number 4, never given a name. Gene then goes mental because he's asked to go do his job instead of stay there with the women in bikinis. We then get a singles match, Crowbar versus the Wall. Crowbar, interestingly, throws away his weapon en route to the ring. I also have to ask at this point, and it's not something that would change anytime soon until he joins the MIA later in the year, but why is Wall still in the suit? He's not a bodyguard anymore. He hasn't been for quite a number of months.
Well, you don't know that.
Yeah, he could be just bodyguarding on the side.
Yeah, listen, wrestling might be a sidekick.
Yeah. I can clearly tell I'm getting tired at this point in my notes because I spelled crowbar horwabar at this point. Do you know what's really funny as well? I noticed in this match, speaking of optics, right, of the suit, but isn't it funny that the Wall is consistently portrayed as a big man in this company, and Crowbar is almost the same size as him?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's thicker than Crowbar, but like Crowbar, if he didn't slouch, might actually be taller than him.
I'm interested to see what size Crowbar is compared, or not Crowbar, is the Wall is compared to like Mike Awesome when he comes in.
Yeah. Gormless idiot David Flair tries to interfere, eats a choke slam. Outside, and Crowbar does a running splash off the apron. Then there's a choke slam off the apron through the cheap ass announce table, and the match gets waved off.
I thought that looked great. I think it's the best angle they've done in months.
Now, I will agree because they sell it really well because they come back after the commercial and they do the full stretcher job, hushed voices, stuff like that. The first replay they show makes it look like he killed this cunt stone dead, right? Perfect replay. I think it's the third replay where it looks like he lands on a plywood bouncy castle. It reminds me very much of, that Jericho bump in the fucking Blood and Guts.
Yeah.
where it looked amazing on the live cam, and then they showed the reverse shot, and it's him hitting a crash pad.
Yeah,
That's what it felt like, where it's like, man, like you should have before you put up the replay, you should have
you
looked
should.
because the
Yeah.
last one is piss poor, like it
Hmm.
is. But yeah, they did a really good job. Like Brain said his career might be over. Like they
Yeah.
were really having it up. The disappointing thing is when almost inevitably, I haven't looked this, but Crowbar will wrestle next week on Thunder,
Oh, he'll absolutely be on Nitro.
if not have wrestled on Nitro, yeah,
Yeah,
and Saturday night.
he'll be on like Nitro with a fucking neck brace on or something.
Replay of Hulk being killed in the cage by Team Pack Dog, and this is where we get our first mention, indeed, as we talked about earlier, of the Yapapai Indian strap match. A very, very famous Hulk Hogan soundbite, him shouting Yapapai. We are
Hmm.
going to witness that happen in real time. Sid and the boys cut a promo. Would you believe they're going to kill the heels? Then we're back to the babes. Contestant number 4 is the clear winner, and there has been no clear loser. Jeff says the least attractive girl hits the bricks. They ask, okay, can we put makeup on first? They said yes, and then they turn around and attack the one girl, throw stuff on her, so she gets the boot. Then we see Crowbar being taken off in an ambulance. Singles match, Buff Bagwell versus Ric Flair. Buff gets ahead of steam early, tries his own figure four, which I thought was funny. Flair gets the rope, does the traditional Flair, beg off and eat a big back body drop. Flair gets away with a low blow from a dodgy ref. Liz and Package out as Buff hits the blockbuster, which is really funny because like the blockbuster was like one of the big finishes in this company. You want to talk about again somebody who's been nerfed, but it's partly because he just physically can't do shit anymore. To be fair, but the blockbuster got on Flair got fucking no reaction. It was like
Hmm.
just a transition move. It felt like. Um, but also it's I guess because we are now conditioned since 1996 that matches like this are just going to have an interference finish. So we're just not going to get
Yes,
invested.
there's
Because
no
Liz is,
clean finish.
yeah, Liz is already on the way out when he's up on the top to do the blockbuster. She distracts Luger, attacks him with the bat, pulls Flair's corpse over Buff for 3, hits him with the straps again, and Hennig makes the save. Um, then, like immediately after the break, no selling that he'd just been beaten to shit. Buff is backstage trying to console contestant number 4. One would presume with his penis, but thankfully the footage cuts off. Our main event then. Billy Kidman, Booker T, and Sid Vicious versus the NWO of Big Ron, Heavy D, and Jeff Jarrett. This was a fucking snooze.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett continuing on his bit of doing like old WWF tropes of the NWO girls come out in their bikinis and he sends them to the back for heat.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know, like for like Jarrett is a good worker, Booker's a good worker, Kidman's a good worker, Sid is Sid, he's over.
Yeah.
This match just had nothing going on.
No juice. It's like people were going, like, looking at their time, going, my parking's up. Fucking hurry this up, lads. There was no investment. It felt like even the commentary was just like, oh, we get to go home or go to the bar in 10 minutes. Like, but I guess it's
Yeah.
what happens again. You want to talk about audiences being conditioned. It's like this match, they start coming to the ring, what I think it was 8 minutes left on the TV broadcast.
Yeah, it's
So like
just
everyone knows like this isn't gonna last long enough for us to give a shit.
yeah, it's just poor. And like there's a real malaise in the whole company at the moment.
On this podcast.
It's I don't like everything just feels flat. And I don't necessarily think it's Jarrett being in the main event that's the fault of it. Like I know ultimately he does get a lot of the blame for being overpushed or whatever. I just think up and down the card there's a real malaise.
Yeah.
And
I,
it
I,
like
I think distinctly again it's the Garrett Kidney philosophy is like I think Jeff Jarrett negatively affects your company the closer he is to the top of it.
Mhm.
And I think this is you want to talk about something they're being this is maybe the one thing they're being brave on is like they are very much committing to Jeff in 2000.
Mhm.
But the difference here is like it's not like the So you're like with Roman or with Cena, it was like our kind of fans who were digging their heels in on those guys. So like WWE could be pretty like the casuals are already won over. We'll get everybody else eventually, right? With Jeff, like no one's having it.
Yeah.
And no one would have it. Like I think people would go, okay, here's your heel world champion. But I don't think there's anybody, even the most deluded of WCW homers in 2000, that couldn't tell you with a straight face that he wasn't a massive step down from the top heels
Hmm.
of the era gone by.
Yeah, and like Jarrett coming in and getting this massive push, and he's like coming off the woman beating angle, like it just
And there's still enough of that character in this character that
yeah,
it's not like they're trying to make you forget that that's
no.
who that guy is.
That like even just like I said, getting the heat in this match is him sending the girls to the back. Like it's
Yeah.
just I don't know. Like I said, I don't put all of the blame on Jarrett, but it's difficult to not say like he's an issue. And I mean, the Harris has been so heavily featured, and I don't know. You feel bad for the people that are there consistently, like Sid, Booker, those types. But it's just it should have been so much better. Um, but look, I don't hold out hope, but like I would think that Sid and Jarrett could have a good match.
They could get through it,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, that's basically Kidman accidentally hits Booker again and Jeff steals the pin. And then afterwards, I think Kidman eats a H bomb. Sid tries to double choke slam the Baldies, and
Mm-hmm.
he turns around into the El Kabonk, and then you have your credits. Which there that's the other thing as well, is the way like the crowds got completely sick of NWO run into the main event.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting even sicker, even quicker of every fucking show ending with a smash guitar.
Jeff Jarrett's guitars all over the place. Yeah.
I think this is our second Thunder back post, but our most recent hiatus, and both have ended with a guitar shot and credits.
And
Was
I'm
it it was Mickey J last week, wasn't it?
yeah,
Got
and I'm pretty sure that the two nitros that we've kind of skipped over have both ended with Jeff Jarrett guitar shots.
oh oh I don't know it for a fact, but if you gunned my head told me I had to bet, I would say yeah, that
Well, I
at
know
least
one of
one,
them,
if not both of them.
Nash was a no, that was Thunder as well. But that was 3 weeks ago. Thunder was Nash got hit with the guitar.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if you just because we are both have for punishing ourselves a WWE pay-per-view on in the background, and an alley oop just happened in the elimination chamber.
Yes, I did. I did say.
Okay, Grant. Okay, alley oop.
Uh,
Had to shout it out. I hate having to date when these shows are recorded, but I can't see an alley oop. It would be a betrayal of the show if I saw an alley oop and said no. Like, so
I would hope somebody puts it up in the Discord tonight, but you never know.
alley oop. We usually do get tagged when there's an alley oop
We
now, which was
do.
a personal life goal of mine.
A good
Anyway,
friend of the show, Jamie OD, is great at pointing them out to us.
indeed. Right. Okay. Let's get out of here, Lee. Give me your overall thoughts on the show and your winners and losers.
Um, I mean, the big winner is the Wall. The Wall comes out looking like a fucking monster after that great angle. Um, I don't know. The losers, fucking. I don't know. Like it's like the demon's just so deep pushed now that he doesn't matter. I mean, the dog is awful. Chavo's new gimmick is awful. I don't know. There's a lot of losers on the show, but I think the Wall absolutely comes out the winner. But the show overall, like I said, there just seems to be a little bit of a malaise setting in. Maybe it is a holding pattern because they know that regime change is coming.
Yeah, it's a lame duck month or
Yeah,
so.
maybe.
We may hold out hope. Well, I tell you, things are going to get busier, whether you like them or not, in the next month. But anyway, the returning finish counter brought to you by Ludwig Borga gives us 8 matches with 2 clean finishes, 1 disqualification, 3 interference leading directly to a finish, and 2 by miscellaneous shenanigans. Thank you all very much for listening to another episode of Days of Thunder. We'll be back on Patreon next week, and we'll be back on the free feed here on Voices of Wrestling in 2 weeks. Thank you very much, and we'll see you very soon.
Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.